with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
I have 3 words for you ladies. Football is back.
You know, I really should have led my quick hits driven by Arlington Toyota with that, Lauren. That was much more dramatic than my we made it to training camp.
No, football is back. Now, granted, it's football practice, Taylor.
But still.
But we got to see footballs flying through the air today.
Yes, that's not a lie. I just got goosebumps. I was like, yes, football.
We have made it to at least the beginning of football season, and I'll just say this is not a hot take. This is not anything that any fan that was out there today, and by the way, the stands were packed. This is not something that, like I said, they wouldn't have noticed either. But Trevor Lawrence can spin the football. And I think he looks even more comfortable in this offense, just like he will every year. We'll be saying this for the next 7 years, that he looks more comfortable now than he did last year. His command of the offense and just his relaxed posture out there, I think it's going to be a big year for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's positive. We're in a year 4. You want him to feel like it's his offense at this point. And for that to be the case is definitely a positive thing. And and the more you get into it, when you talk about these quarterbacks that are with their team and commanding their offenses for, 4, 5, 6, 7+ years, it gets to the point eventually where it's just kind of like, natural. That's just what it is. No surprises. So I do like, though, that we've seen this progression of something where we were like, okay, learning curves, new offense, coaching change, this, and then now we feel like there's some stability there, and that's obviously with the offensive side of the ball in general, some of these guys being together with Christian Kirk and with ETN and with Trevor, and then now a year 2 Anton, and a year 2 with Ezra, and a year 2 with year 3 with Sheriff, and then we'll see what's going on with Cam Robinson, but to have this more base stability is definitely a positive thing, because I think that for so many years, it's more so you have so many battles, and sometimes when you have that many battles, it adds some inconsistency. So now to have this base foundation is such a positive thing, and it also is beneficial for Trevor to have something where he comes in and he knows what he's walking into rather than all of these question marks.
Let's not bury the lead, Lauren. This was one of the more intense day ones I've seen of a training camp. The fact that they had not only 7-on-7 red zone drills, they had an 11-on-11 red zone period. The amount of yelling and screaming and teaching that I saw far exceeded what I have seen in previous training camps on day one. And that speaks to what Doug Peterson spoke about at the podium this morning, which is they are in a teaching world. They are here to teach as much as they are here to get ready for the season and do a job at hand. And also what Andre Cisco and I caught up about, and Trevor Lawrence also echoed this and during his time at the podium this afternoon, which is open line of communication. Don't be afraid to call somebody out, because that's your brother. That's somebody who you respect. And it actually was fascinating because it's something that in a lot of my, I'm going to do it, putting my Professor O'Brien leadership cap on from the University of North Florida's Taylor Leadership Institute. I loved in the Hunts episode from yesterday when Chris Richard spoke of the concept of loyalty. Loyalty is not just dutifully doing whatever you're asked and being a yes man. Loyalty is actually having the ability to hold someone accountable because you are loyal to the ultimate goal at hand. And I think that is something that the Jaguars at times, especially during that last 6 games of the season stretch last year, they lost because they didn't want to rock the boat. They didn't want to upset anybody. And so so from what we've been told from players from that episode of The Hunt last night, it sure sounds like it's okay to say to someone, hey, you're not holding yourself accountable, or hey, you need to go faster. I saw much more of that on the practice field today than I ever have in a day one of a Doug Peterson training camp.
Well, and to that point, it's important just as much to be able to feel like you can say that to one of your teammates, also be a teammate who can take it, because there's players in the NFL who cannot take that any sort of criticism, even if it's trying to help you out, the constructive criticism, some people are not good at taking that. So feeling like, Mia, what it sounds like is we have guys right now who not only feel like they can call somebody out if they have to, but teammates also respect that and can take that information and run with it and work on it.
Yes, and ironically enough, take you all behind the curtain even further, it's actually a conversation Taylor and I just had about the multimedia department here. I was like, Taylor, like, part of working together is if somebody's not holding up their end of the bargain in our department, don't be afraid to say, hey, we didn't do this. Hey, we didn't do that. Because if you don't say that and then that falls through the cracks, that's when you see a team that loses 5 of their last 6 games. Because you allowed for those issues that weren't addressed head on initially when there was that buffer time to then fester, and that's when they come back to haunt you.
Yeah, I thought the practice was a little bit more intense than I expected, and we saw like Darnell Savage out there in a non-contact jersey, but I saw contact, not necessarily with just him, but I mean, in general, it seemed like it was a little bit more physical, even though, again, no pads or anything like that. But to the point about the teaching, and I tweeted this out, so Trevor Lawrence in the end zone there, right in front of the fans, they were going through the running back catching the ball drills, right? Easy stuff, running back out of the backfield. Every running back caught the ball except Keelan Robinson, the rookie, had 2 drops. And of course, it's magnified when this is your first practice as a Jaguar and there's fans going, right behind you. So I'm sure he was like, dang it.
When everybody's looking at the roster, what number is that?
Oh. Right. Yeah. Like, oh no, that's our rookie that we drafted. And so after the second drop, I saw Trevor yell out his name, walk towards him and use his left hand to kind of point out wide. And the next time Keelan went through the drill and Trevor threw the pass, he caught it and it was no problem. And so it's just little things like that you see the evolution of Trevor being more vocal, but also people being, yes, able to take someone saying, I need you to do it a little bit more like this versus like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that going back to the beginning of that taking credibility for certain things is so important. And I do think it was a massive part. And I know we're finally to football, so we can really feel like we can let go of last season and it's time to move on.
As Doug said during his presser this morning, Doug's like...
Because I know he said earlier, like, I'll never forget it, but at some point you have to stop talking about it and say, like, let's move on. We've got to fix it. Not let that happen again. Yes, let it sit there a little bit, and because you never want to forget how that felt to let the collapse happen that way. But at the same time, it's more looking forward of, like, what things do we need to address the most to figure out how to not let that happen, and a part of that is accountability.
Right. Yeah, and you do have to turn the page at some point. Yeah. And we are now done, hopefully, asking them questions about 2023.
Yeah, that's literally what Doug said this morning. He's like, I'm very excited for this to be the last question I have to answer about last season.
In contracts. He doesn't want to talk about those anymore.
Yes, and those. He's like, yeah, we gave a lot of money out. It was great. Everything's great. So, I think they're ready to turn the page. It's fascinating to me, and of course, we want to hear from you, the Heeligans, especially those of you who were out at training camp day one. So please hit us up with your thoughts at 641-1010 on what you saw, who you're most excited for. You also can hit the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line. But I think that what's interesting is that despite the way last season ended, Lauren and Taylor, I feel like there is still this sense of optimism in the city. And I think a lot of that has to deal with the off-season contracts, the off-season stadium deal. But it is interesting to me only because I thought there would be more of, oh, no, well, what about the Texans? What about the Colts? I didn't sense any of that from the fan base. We could get to the players themselves because I think the players themselves are keeping that in the back of their minds. Not that they're like not believing in themselves, but that chip on their shoulder. Yeah. I don't sense that chip on the shoulder from the fan base as much as I do sense it from the players themselves, which is a good thing. Yeah. But it's just different.
What's funny is I've noticed that on Twitter this offseason, and there was a little bit of panic in that January, February time of that coming off that season was fresh and it was hurt. Everyone was kind of hurt. Then the Mac Jones gets signed, and that's the first move you make in the offseason. And the defensive side of the ball was let go, and some people felt like it should have been the offensive side of the ball when it came to the coaching staff. And so there was a little bit of negativity around then, but I feel like after that it's been pretty positive. And I think there's a few things that factor into that, Lauren. I think part of it is, yes, everything that's happened. We've seen Foyer's contract, and we've seen, obviously, Josh Hines-Allen Mullins contract, and then most people were stoked about the Brian Thomas Jr. First pick in that first round, so people were excited about that. And then you get a Trevor contract, and you get stadium, and you get all these things. So those were exciting. But I also think that a lot of people, after taking a deep breath and decompressing a little bit and looking back and realizing some of the factors that led to that collapse in Trevor Lawrence not practicing for pretty much the whole last month of football, without Christian Kirk, how drastic the offense dropped in certain areas. All of those little things, I think once people decompressed and kind of took a look back, they were like, they didn't just suck. There was a lot of factors that came into, maybe it wasn't a perfect football team. It wasn't a 13-14 win football team, but they were a few plays away from being in the postseason. And you realize that once you get to take a step back and really look at it.
Yeah, the only vitriol now, I think, is concerning play calling. I think all the other stuff has washed away, but certainly that's going to be a sticking point.
We're going to lead with that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a sticking point for fans, and I understand that's because they want to make sure that they get the very best of their quarterback, number 16, who got that massive extension, like you mentioned, tailored that Trevor did. And yeah, Doug doesn't want to answer that question right now. I think that's fine, as long as the question gets answered before the season starts.
And I don't think it will ever be answered. I'm going to stick by my prediction. I do believe that there is a world in which it is Doug Peterson calling plays, but I do not believe that that will ever actually be vocalized. And I know that that is a point of frustration for fans. I know that is a point of frustration for media members. But unfortunately, it's a collaborative process. We're working together. It's a collaborative process. And if he was to actually admit that he or Press Taylor is the one calling plays, I think it would become a similar situation to the Eric Bieniemy and also Doug Peterson situation when he was the offense coordinator in Kansas City, Matt Nagy after him before Bieniemy. It would be like that, where, oh, well, he's the one calling the plays to Trevor. Wink, wink. Mm-hmm. That is where I think this ultimately lands. Mark Long of the Associated Press pushed Doug on this morning because when Shad Khan was made available following the stadium announcement, he said, I hired Doug to call plays. Yeah. And Doug said, yeah, I have to take that into consideration. But it is just fascinating how far we have come in this discourse over the past year. Yeah. Because as Hayes Carline pointed out to me, none of this would be as dramatic as it is if they hadn't allowed for a leak at 9 a.m. the day of the first game against the Indianapolis Colts last year to be the first sliver of information we had that Doug was not calling plays for an entire game.
Yeah, that's why I think it's silly that he's not saying anything. I think it should be vocalized now. Even if that changes, even if you say right now we're going forward with Press Taylor, people are going to be up in arms, but at least there's an answer, because until then, players are going to be asked at every single press conference. Coaches are going to be asked at every single press conference until you get an answer. And to me, that's adding an extra layer of drama to something where it shouldn't be. At least just give us a name. Let us go with something. Well, in a few weeks, if that changes, or if in the first week of the season, we're like, Doug's like, hey, I reevaluated some things and took into Shad Khan's, consideration of who he wanted, and I'm going to take over play calling when the season starts. I just think that it just is like this weird secret game that it's really like, just tell us something.
Well, and I know he being Doug, likes to protect his offensive coordinator. I get that. But it's not a slight to me against Press if Doug says, you know what, I'm really good at this. I am going to take it back.
No,
but Press is still heavily involved in the offense and still certainly, along with Mike McCoy, the quarterback's coach, in Trevor's ear. Like, that is a symbiotic relationship, and it doesn't say that Press can never get a head coaching job. Yeah. But I think because everyone thought, because his brother Zach, of course, head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, when Press had his first press conference, Press Taylor, everyone thought, well, he's on the trajectory of being a head coach very soon. And so if the play calling is taken away, his life is ruined, his career is ruined.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case.
Think that at all. You're better at it, potentially.
Yeah.
But then again, we always go back to what Doug had said, again, that leak as far as the beginning of the season last year when, well, Press was calling the second halves of those games. Well, the second half looked a lot better than the first half. So that's where, to me, just, select someone and let us move forward. Yeah. And I think it should be Doug.
Yeah, I agree. And I want it to be Doug, but I just would like an answer. And I think that Doug has this history, and it's known around the NFL of protecting Press Taylor. And that's just kind of what it is. So maybe that's part of it. But also, this could come back to bite Press even more if he did, let's say, the circumstance of Press is calling plays, because you kind of were just making the remark of if he took it away, are people going to say, no, you'll never get another head coaching job, da-da-da. But if he makes him the play caller and it's atrocious, then that might hurt him more than just being like, let Doug go into the season calling plays. Not every head coach has to be the play caller, or it can be a collaborative thing, but just give an answer, because right now it's just leaving everybody hanging and it's going to not go away.
This sounds awful. I'm not wishing this to happen. But by letting the world believe that Press Taylor is still calling plays, doesn't that give a little bit of slack to Doug that if things go wrong, if they are losing, then he has the ability to say, I'm taking the play calling back.
Yeah.
That's something that you know firsthand from your time in Chicago, Taylor,
definitely.
about that. It gives you that extra leash. And I'm not saying that he's coaching scared and trying to ensure he has that leash if things are to go awry. But that's also the optics of the situation.
Definitely.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go. I think that as a head coach, ultimately you want to win football games. That's your main goal. And I genuinely think that Doug is doing what he thinks is going to win football games. I just think that vocally he doesn't share all of that information, which I'm not saying he has to share every single aspect of what they're doing on and off the football field. But things like this, I think, are a big conversation point just because it has been kind of a back and forth of what's going on. You know, there's been good and bad moments of both of them play calling. But when you were hired as a coach who was a play caller in the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl being a play caller, and your owner is saying, I would kind of like him to call plays, that's bringing some extra attention to that situation.
Yeah, certainly. I don't think we're having this conversation about other teams in the league right now going through training camp, like who's going to be the play caller, because they've told us who the play caller is going to be. We will continue on the other side to give you more training camp day one observations. And
I've got the clipboard, ladies.
Perfect.
We found that when we moved everything down from Maryland 2 weekends ago. Lots of clipboards were discovered, so I broke out the clipboard. I'm bringing a clipboard now to Jaguars camp.
Beautiful. And Mia has an interview one-on-one with Andre Cisco. We will get to that. And we have what I'm going to call the greatest giveaway in the history of the radio station. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's what I'm going to call it. The greatest giveaway potentially ever. How about that? In the history of the radio station. We'll tell people about that when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Gators. Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Up-to-the-minute updates, instant reaction from Gainesville, plus the same 1010XL Gators podcast you've grown to know. And check out 1010XL Gators on YouTube.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle. If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle with lifetime warranty, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Best price, best payment, best trade-in value, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. With a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there is always a little room for wiggle. Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
It's storm season, and JEA is committed to keeping you informed. In the event of a storm, we'll text and email you about the status of your services. We use Facebook and Twitter to post real-time updates. Our live outage map on JEA.com lets you track restoration progress. And as crews work to restore services, our storm outreach team will be in local neighborhoods to answer your questions. Because as your community utility, JEA is here to keep you safe and connected. Your community, your utility.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
The coolest thing going on right now is the summer fan sale with 3 ways to save at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Browse their huge selection of high-quality fans to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Buy 1 fan, save 10%. Buy 2, save 15%. Buy 3 or more and save 20% off summer pricing on all fans. Visit their showroom near the avenues while inventory is still available and discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with Awaken 180. Between increased flexibility, strength, and endurance, breaking 100 or 90 or even 80 could be just 40 pounds away. Get there this summer with the solution for weight loss. Awaken180weightloss.com.
This is Hayes Carline here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish Revolution, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
There's certain places you know if you go in, they got what you're looking for, like Gate Convenience Stores and Cold Modelo's. That's the ticket. Or get on the craft side of things with something from Bold City or Sweetwater. Hit the cooler at Gate, full of choices and all of them good.
Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to bring your friends out and enjoy our spectacular golf course, which is carved out of some of the highest elevations in North Florida. Hidden Hills Golf Club, unlike any other. Check us out, hiddenhillsgc.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Day 1 of training camp began today. We will tell you all of our observations, but first I just mentioned we have a fantastic giveaway. It is called Jacksonville Game Day Getaway at the Circa Resort and Casino. That would be in Las Vegas. Woohoo! Yeah, that's right. Las Vegas. The Jaguars take on the Raiders December 22nd. So if you want to win a 3-night stay December 20th through the 23rd, which is, like I said, right around the game, all you have to do is what, Taylor Dahl?
Yeah, so we have an entry form on our website. So you can visit 1010xl.com/Vegas. You can also, right now, we just posted on all our social channels to the link to both go and register. So pretty much just go to that page. You'll see a form to fill out. And that will give you one entry. For an additional entry, if you also subscribe to our new 1010XL Weekly, which is our newsletter that just came out about a month ago, if you subscribe to that, you'll also get an additional entry into this. Some really cool stuff, though, because obviously the Jags play the Raiders that weekend. So we will be hosting a tailgate pep rally pre-party at the Stadium Swim the Friday before the game. So you'll get a ticket to that. You'll get a 3-night stay, all the resort fees, taxes, everything included in this when it comes to it. So 3 nights, which will be the 20th to the 23rd. You also get $200 worth of food and beverage vouchers in that. You also get a day bed at the Stadium Swim too. So a ton in this. But yes, go to the website, 1010XL.com/Vegas, or look on our social channels. We'll be posting it for the next few weeks, I guess until, I want to say August 9th. We ended up deciding we'll draw a winner on that day. So you have until August 9th. You must be 21 to enter. So let me just preface with that. And yeah, it's going to be a blast. I know we're excited. We had the meeting yesterday officially, and that made it feel, I feel like, even more football season time. It's also my birthday weekend, so you can come celebrate my birthday too.
That's right. Like she said, Helmets and Heels will be there. And the world's largest hot tub party, Mia.
Yes.
Does that compete with the world's largest I can't talk today. Outdoor cocktail party?
It usurps it. Sorry, Gator fans. Sorry, Dogs fans. I just know from some of our contemporaries in other NFL markets that have had the opportunity to do this with their listeners, an opportunity to go to a game because the team that they cover is playing the Las Vegas Raiders, and they've gotten the opportunity to stay at Circa. You guys have definitely seen the pictures of Stadium Swim. Honestly, I believe it's one of the largest pools in America, at least one that's heated. And they have the giant television screens with all of your sportsbook odds, live games. We, of course, will be there that second to last weekend of December. So we'll have college football playoffs going on that Saturday. We'll have NFL on Saturday as well. It's going to be epic and that's not even the right word. Like that honestly is like not even selling it to what it will be. I know so many folks here at 1010 are, excited to come with us, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, we'll have that pep rally on Friday night as well. So thank you to Circa, our partner, for this, because I know it was something that I had in the back of my mind, knowing some friends who've been able to do this giveaway and been able to partner with Circa when their teams played the Raiders. And I know Brent Hopkins, one of our sales guys who's the lead on this, he felt the same way. He had seen other teams have this opportunity and was like, I wonder. And it just so happened it was fate. That day, he got an email from the team at Circa from that whole crew. And so we are very, very excited for this giveaway.
Yes. And if you haven't seen, just literally Google Stadium Swim, and you'll want to enter into this contest, I promise you.
I have a feeling that the 1010XL newsletter subscriptions are going to increase dramatically as people want to get that extra entry. So again, on all the social channels and also on our website, 1010XL.com, like Taylor said. All right, Mia, how was chatting with Andre Cisco?
It was tremendous. Andre it's so funny, and I said it to him, he's only 24, but he's an old soul. And he will be the first to tell you, and he expresses this in the interview, that he feels like he arrived in Jacksonville at 21 years old, a kid, and now he regards Jacksonville as the place that he became a man. And so, needless to say, we led off talking about his summer trip, because if you do not follow Andre Cisco, Tyson Campbell and Company on Instagram, you should, because the content from their church trip to Africa was elite. Disclaimer, I did forget to ask him about the video for the Throwbacks with Big Surfs, because we had so much to cover in this wide-ranging interview. Here he is. I know you guys have been waiting for this. By the way, we did talk about the potential contract too. Jaguars starting safety, Andre Cisco. Pleased to be joined with Jaguars' fourth-year safety. Man, that's weird to say. Man. Andre Cisco, old man in the room now? How does that feel?
I know. I was telling the guys, I'm an old man. He's like, how old are you? I was like 24. He's like, bro, what? Because some of our rookies are young, but the league it grows you up and matures you.
Now, I told you as you walked over here, I wanted to ask about your summer, but we had to wait till we were on camera because you, Tyson, Devon, Devin, DT, one of the most epic trips, at least I've seen in pictures. Tell me all about Africa.
Yeah, so we went with our church, Celebration Church in Jacksonville. They have a lot of churches on the grounds in Zimbabwe. So we scheduled a mission trip. They do it every year. And so we all went. We all big believers, all very involved in the church. And so we went, and it was, for a mission, but we all grew so much just as a group. It's interesting to see guys in that space, very vulnerable, very much, laying it on the line. And we all got a chance to kind of speak in front of the people in Zimbabwe. And it gives you a lot of hope for, our future.
Yeah, so it was very much about church. Was it about football as well, bringing the game over there? Or?
Right. So we did have a football camp.
Okay.
That was part of the way to kind of engage the children. Most of them were just local kids, and we had like 800 kids in 6 stations. So if you ever been to a football camp, it's usually like 100 kids and then a lot of stations to kind of rotate them. We had like 100 kids at each station. Mind you, they know nothing about football, but they were just excited and having fun.
What was the craziest thing you saw? Did you see a lion, a giraffe, like in the wild?
Yeah.
What was the craziest thing?
Yeah, so we saw a lion that was had just had his lunch with a zebra, so pulling out the intestines and everything. I was tripping. They were telling me on the safari, shh. I was like, oh my God, look at his intestine. You know what I mean? But my video was great. I don't know. I didn't post it actually. It's a little creepy, but
okay. All
yeah.
right. We'll get that out there on the IG soon.
Yeah.
You posted on IG, speaking of, that you were baptized a year ago this week. When you look back at where you were your first year in Jacksonville, emotionally, mentally, physically, to where you are now entering year 4, how would you describe it?
It's night and day. I always know that Jacksonville was a place I kind of really matured and grew up. I think just looking back on these past 4 years, night and day from who I was. I think it's funny, you come in like a kid, you're actually a kid, 21, you don't know anything. And so you're given a lot, an abundance of resources and access. And so you got a chance to kind of misuse it or use it in the right way. And so to be able to kind of surround myself around guys that know how to use it in the right way, I say Jacksonville is kind of the place for that compared to guys I know in other cities. You kind of just see that this team has more of an awareness of the right thing to do. We got a lot of guys that just righteous, upstanding men. So it's good to take that example. And like I said, much different man than I was.
Yeah. You passed him on your walk over here. Tyson Campbell. What does Brody mean to you?
It's hard to describe. I think seeing him get what he deserves. I think I always just say it's just the grace of God. I mean, he had a rough year last year, and just seeing it firsthand. We go through a lot. Sometimes you don't know what's going to pay off, but God had a plan for him, and it's just really cool to just see him. Like I said, get what he deserves. He's one of the best corner in the league, if you ask me, and just everything he has is so natural, so humble, really exciting dude to be around. I think to the outsiders he's very quiet, but he's honestly one of the most funniest people. So just getting to know him more, you kind of see why he is who he is and how he got here.
Let's build off that. You said last year wasn't what he wanted. Last year, I think for you too, the injuries. I mean, do you use that as kind of the reason for why last year didn't go according to plan, or how have you two kind of fueled what happened last year in your training together and also individually?
Yeah, I think you kind of factor in what did I do last year, what was I dealing with. I think the biggest thing is what were you dealing with off the field. I think when I look at myself, I say there were some hidden stressors in my life that maybe I didn't get to eliminate. So I think now going into this year, being able to eliminate some of those stressors. And I was dealing with a lot. My dad had just passed before camp last year. Sometimes those things linger in ways you don't understand. So I look back on last year as a lesson. Really, it was my second year starting, so I really look at it like a sophomore year in college. And I'm going to my 3rd year now, and my mind is a lot more clear.
Yeah, I think that's something Doug's really preached. I know with Trevor, but also with you guys. It's okay to still be growing as you enter year 3 as a starter.
Right. No, I mean, exactly. There's just so much to learn in this league. And, watching film and doing it in practice is one thing, but getting it on game day, being in those high-pressure situations, and then even battling through injury, that mental capacity has to be tested through battle.
So Tyson gets paid yesterday. We talked about the emotions for seeing him get what he earned. Trevor gets paid earlier this offseason. For you, have you had conversations? Has your team had conversations? Where is your mind at in terms of entering this contract year?
My mind is just just give it all I got. Be with the Jaguars for this year, with everything I got. Business might take place, but for me, my mindset is I'm gonna be a Jag. You know what I mean? And that's how you gotta go into these situations, because if not, you kind of look like you one foot in, one foot out, and people can see that when you play. People can see that in practice. And so for me, I'm all in. And then whatever happens, happens. But I'm optimistic, and this is, like I said, I've matured here and grew up so much that it's a place I want to be.
Rayshawn, unfortunately, we say goodbye to Ray. I know he's your guy. So you really are the leader now of that room next to Dewey and DT, of course. How would you describe your role comparatively to this time a year ago?
I think just being able to be more vocal, be a little bit more outspoken and opportunity, just like even going into yesterday, going into today, just taking an opportunity to stand up in front of the group and say, this is the expectation. This is how we're going to do it. And let's do it our way. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of times you get caught up in what you've seen and trying to mimic that, but let's do it our way. And so, one of the things we're going to be is just transparent with each other. We're going to talk a lot. We're going to have times, just in the hotel, just we all going to get together and just talk and talk about the things that we need to do on the field during the day. But you only get so much time out here. So let's gel as a group. Let's allow guys that even don't make the team to grow during this time.
One more for you, Andre. Ryan Nielsen comes in. Chris Richard comes in. Describe how your role on the field may be different in that defensive scheme comparatively to last year.
I think, Coach Richard is just a great developer of talent. I think just even thus far, just the conversations we can have, it helps me express my talent better, if that makes sense. Like, I think just being able to execute is the biggest thing in this league. So he's given me a way to just continue to execute. I think the role is similar. I'm a safety. I'm really good at playing in the middle of the field. We'll have blitz packages in, and then, but each safety has to do everything. So I wouldn't say I'm too exclusive in that.
Have you watched Jesse Bates' footage or film at all from last year with the Falcons and Ryan's defense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, both safeties from last year and Atlanta were really, really good. Richie Grant and Jesse were both exceptional. So watching both of them, they were able to operate at a high level. I think one thing about safeties is being able to play fast. You can tell when they saw a run, they put their foot in the ground, made tackles. When it was passed, they kept the ball in front of them. And then Jesse, obviously, he did a great job manipulating the quarterback. So that's probably the next step I got to take.
Biggest goal for this year for you as we wrap up?
I think just be confident and consistent. I think if you're consistent in this league, it stands out. If you do things week to week, it doesn't go unnoticed. So I think that's the biggest thing. Be confident and be consistent.
Andre Cisco, appreciate you, brother. Best of luck this season.
Likewise, thank you.
Again, really appreciate Andre's transparency. I completely forgot, and I said this to Taylor, I forgot that his father had passed away the week before training camp last year, and appreciate, him being open about the contract situation as well. And you heard it from Tyson. If you were listening to Jaguars today, you'll hear from Tyson a little bit later in our program, I'm sure as well, that the two of them have found their faith really here in Jacksonville, and that's kind of where they push a lot of this off to. Not to say that they're not addressing these things head on, but ultimately they know they can only control what they can control. And in their belief that if God wants them to be here, if God wants them to be rewarded for the fruits of their labor, then that is what's going to happen. And so appreciate Andre on that. And how freaking wild is that lion with the zebra? Right?
He said I caught him after lunch.
I have a friend who's there right now, and she's been posting all these pictures and videos of, zebras being eaten. I'm like, I don't want to see this.
Yeah, I don't need that part personally.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all had a good time in Africa. All right, we've got more to do. We will continue our training camp day one observations. Also want you to hear a couple more comments from Bucky Brooks, and who is our NFL Darkhorse team for this season. We have a lot to do, ladies, right here on a Wednesday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Living on the First Coast.
The beach.
Loving the First Coast.
I love it. I love it.
1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots in the first treatment, now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
By now, we all know the phrase, go big or go home, right? Well, my friends at Arlington Toyota are taking that phrase to heart with the Big One sales event. Yup, it's back and going on now at Arlington Toyota. Mia here, and during the Big One sales event, you're going to save so big, you'll be driving home a brand new Toyota in no time. And Arlington has over 400 new Toyotas available. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and family vans. Guess you could say you're going big and going home in style. Plus, with every new purchase at Arlington, you get their lifetime warranty. That's unlimited time and miles. And Arlington's 60-day exchange program. That's 60 days to love your new purchase or exchange it. So if you're wondering if now's the time to buy, let me put it this way. This is a sale so big it can only go by one name. The Big One sales event. So yeah, I say go big and save big at Arlington Toyota today. But don't wait. A sale this big won't last long. Stop by and shop today. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Vegas, baby. This is Taylor Dahl from Helmets and Heels, and we're sending one lucky listener to Circa Resort and Casino this December. Win a free 3-night stay with $200 food and beverage credit, plus a daybed at Stadium Swim. With 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive 143-foot screen at Circa, you'll huddle up with the Heels at the Overhang Bar for our pregame tailgates on Friday with drink specials and giveaways. For a chance to win this all-in package to Circa with Helmets and Heels, enter at 1010xl.com/Vegas.
And if you've already booked your flight to Vegas for the big game and are still searching for accommodations, Circa Resort and Casino has a special rate just for Jacksonville fans. Mia here, and for just $500, get a 3-night stay at Circa, $200 in food and beverage credit, plus a day bed at Stadium Swim. With 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive screen, it's the world's largest hot tub party. The all-in package is only available till August 30th, so act now. Book and join the Heels in Vegas. Visit CircaLasVegas.com today.
This is Dr. George Bari inviting you to look online at BariOrthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics, and online at BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Expert Automotive is ready to keep you cool this summer. Right now, get an AC inspection or a system cooling checkup. Your choice for only $19.99. Their gift to you this summer is $50 off any service and a free tire rotation with any service. Their ASE certified technicians can keep your car cool without breaking the bank this summer. Call them at 374-3373 to get an appointment today. Expert Automotive. They never sell greed, only what you need.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 24, 1977, Pete Rose becomes the switch hit leader with 2,881 hits, passing Frankie Frisch. Rose goes on to hold the record for most career hits in the MLB.
Arrested? Got traffic tickets? DUI? License problems, gun charges, drug charges? If you've been charged with any crime, call me, criminal defense attorney Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
Thermal Engineers is hiring. Thermal Engineers is a commercial HVAC contractor serving North Florida for over 20 years. Qualified technicians and installers. How does top pay, 401k, and full benefits sound? And a signing bonus. Is it time for a positive change in your career? Join the family-oriented commercial HVAC contractor at Thermal Engineers. Call 230-1172 or go to Thermal Engineers, Inc., an equal opportunity employer.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
Catch all the interviews and analysis of this year's ACC kickoff.
Sold out crowd, Doak Campbell Stadium.
Coverage on 1010XL is brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, Local Union 234, and Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. If you missed Mia's one-on-one with Andre Cisco, make sure to check that out.
1010XL Jaguars channel will be up there momentarily.
Beautiful. All right, some other training camp observations day one.
Are we going to hit the clipboard, Lauren?
Let's do it.
Let's hit the clipboard. I actually am about to export my quick hits driven by Arlington Toyota. So in case you have a friend who's not listening to Helmets and Heels right now, it will be available up on video version here momentarily. I actually wrote this down as my first observation. And given the fact that they're not in pads yet, given the fact that this is a lot of throwing on air and still figuring out who's going to slot into which position, it may be weird that offensive line was one of my bigger takeaways. But I was watching, as Taylor knows, because I texted her. I knew she was here, and I knew she'd get a kick out of it. I was watching the offensive lineman, Lauren, during position drills, pushing the sled. And this is no knock on Luke Fortner. But Luke Fortner's pushing the sled, and it's a bit of a struggle. Ezra Cleveland comes up for the next rep and quite literally threw the sled. I am not exaggerating. Like, literally shoved it a good 8 yards and then threw the sled. Then Walker Little came up right after him and essentially did the same exact thing. And that, I don't think, is so much a knock on Fortner as it is a testament to the work that those two have put in this offseason and the fact that the Jaguars are banking that on a healthy Ezra Cleveland elevating that left guard position to a point that they haven't seen in I don't even know how long.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it's a little on Luke, too, because that was one of the criticisms last year was the strength of he just people didn't feel or see the strength that you need to have at that center position. So my immediately response was, we better hope Mitch stays out there because if not, that's a little scary. But yes, credit to the other guys for doing their work too.
Yeah, there was one offensive lineman who changed positions within the offensive line group. I found that interesting. He's a guy that Taylor had on her 53-man roster that you and I did not, Mia, and that is Cole Van Lanen. He is no longer a guard. He is a tackle.
No, he's been a tackle. He was a tackle last season too.
Well, they traded for him to be a guard.
Correct.
They
yes.
played him at guard, but now the fact that I feel like, and I still don't know that he's going to make the team, but I found it interesting that he was playing left tackle.
Yeah, he played a good amount of swing tackle during the preseason last year, too. I mean, I agree. Like, they traded for him and he was a guard. But they definitely last year spent some time. And again, the best ability is availability. Thank you, Doug Marrone. And so that was part of why, much like Deshaun Dixon on the defensive line, the fact that he started cross-training at defensive tackle, part of why I think in terms of his development, the team's okay with him spending last year on the practice squad after making the 53-man roster as an undrafted free agent at a Norfolk State the year prior. They were okay with that because he was learning a new position. And so Cole Van Lanen, yes, had some time last year at the tackle position during the preseason. I mean, they're counting on him, quite frankly. That was the depth chart last year.
Yeah.
Like, it was Cam, Anton, Walker Little, the three of them,
and then Cole Van Lanen
and Blake Hance.
Yeah,
those are that. Like, that's the order. By the way, if you didn't know this, Cole Van Lanen's nickname in the locker room is Balls. So I always get thrown off whenever I'm walking through the locker room and they're like, "Hey, Balls," and I'm like,
"You're like, oh."
I'm like, "Whoa, what are we doing in here?"
Well, that's on my depth chart when we predicted them, I had Anton and Cole Van Lanen like my right tackles, and then Cam and Walker as my left, and then I had Cooper Hodges as kind of like a back and forth.
While we're on the subject of offensive line, we appreciate all of our Heeligans on the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line. Floyd with questions about Stephen Jones not practicing. Doug Peterson did address that during his podium availability this morning during conditioning tests yesterday, which Stephen did pass. He unfortunately suffered a little bit of a calf injury, and so they're going to be cautious with him. What I did find interesting, Lauren, was that they said that they would be holding Keelan Robinson out of practice, and he was participating in team drills. So I was very fascinated by that.
Yeah, maybe they did another evaluation. They decided Keelan was perfectly fine. One guy, speaking of the 53-man roster, a guy that, again, I didn't have on mine, but that I think could change as training camp goes on, because I think he had a really good day, and that's linebacker Caleb Johnson.
Yeah.
I thought number 57 had made a few different splash plays. I don't know if he's on the clip board.
Yes, he is on the clipboard.
Right.
Yeah, he's on the clipboard. He had a pass breakup during 7-on-7 drills and then an interception during 11-on-11 drills. He was one of 3 defensive players to record interceptions today. Ronald Darby with the first pick of training camp. That was of Trevor Lawrence. It was on a play where it was one-on-one between Darby and Gabe Davis, top corner of the end zone. Trevor, quite frankly, just underthrew it. Shout out to Darby for recognizing that and getting in the right position to make the play. I really enjoyed Christian Braswell's pick of C.J. Beathard, where he jumped the route, had the wherewithal to recognize the play on the underneath route, was able to gamble a little bit, but came away with the ball as well. A nice pass breakup by Jarian Jones, too, in the end zone during 7-on-7 drills. It looked like it would be a highlight reel catch from, I believe it was either Sean Bowman or one of the tight ends, and Jarian just came flying in at the very end as the foot was about to come down in the back corner of the end zone and made a play. That's what you want to see from these young guys, that they are playing until the whistle is blown.
And to remind people, that doesn't mean that the offense is terrible, the defense is so much better. It just means, especially red zone when training camp begins, it's easier for the defense because the windows are smaller.
From 566 on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, why wasn't Roy Robertson Harris in any of the 11-on-11 drills? He actually had a foot injury, if you guys remember, during the offseason program. He actually suffered it at, I believe it was during phase 2. And so I think the team just being smart about him. He was in a uniform today. He was participating in position drills with the rest of the defensive linemen, which is obviously a step further than where Eric Armstead is, who began the training camp portion, the training camp, I should say, on the PUP list. And so I think they're just being cautious. And Doug echoed that with his comments about Eric, where he said, I'm not worried about him being ready for week 1. He's been in the league for a decade. I want him to be as healthy as possible for week 1.
And he was running, so that was good news. He wasn't just doing stretching and things like that. Like, they had him, maybe not sprinting, but certainly running.
There's movement there, and that's important.
Yeah, that certainly is important. Beat the Books on Twitter tweeted us and said that Circa Las Vegas is the best hotel in Vegas. The 2023 Circa Survivor champs were the Jags, and they will be there for the Jaguars Raiders. So again, if you missed it, we will be in Vegas for Jags Raiders as well, and you can enter to win the contest through all of our social channels as well as the 1010XL website. You get 3-night stay at Circa along with a whole bunch of other fantastic things. Any other training camp observations?
Yeah, 2 touchdowns during 7-on-7 drills for Brenton Strange. Good to see a connection between him and Trevor Lawrence. I thought Tank Bigsby looked pretty good receiving out of the backfield. I know that is the last name that so many of you Heeligans want to hear because you think he's all training camp, all practice, and then doesn't show up during games. Look, you got to give the guy some slack. He was 21 years old. You start that first game of the season with 2, not 1, but 2 freak plays that resulted in turnovers, and you get thrown in the doghouse after being the lead guy at Auburn for 3 years. Emotionally, mentally, physically, your head's already in a beehive as a rookie in the National Football League. I do expect Tank to be a significant contributor in 2024.
Let's also talk about the team as a whole couldn't run the ball, so it wasn't just Tank Bigsby.
And they weren't even giving him the ball.
Offensive issue,
exactly.
I thought he looked good catching out of the backfield too. And another guy with really good hands, now he should have really good hands because he's a receiver, is Gabe Davis. He's a smooth player when you watch him, and that's really fun to watch too because, again, because he's a veteran, I think he's going to be a guy that starts to have some splash plays right off the rip, like week 1 against the Dolphins.
Yeah, and Trevor kind of hinted at that a little bit in his podium availability because he talked about how difficult it was for Parker Washington and why he'll never knock Parker Washington for the mishaps that happened when he was forced to see all of the snaps, essentially all of the snaps in the slot after Christian Kirk's injury down the home stretch of last season. Because Parker was injured coming into his training camp, his first training camp with the Jags. He gets hurt on the first play once he actually is activated week 4. And then he's sitting on the sidelines for a couple weeks and then gets thrust in, and all of a sudden he has to see every single snap the rest of the ball game. And so Trevor was speaking about that with regards to the onboarding and with regards to injuries happen and the next guy has to be ready. But I also think by bringing in a pro's pro, a veteran guy in Gabe Davis, yes, he's replacing quote-unquote Zay Jones, who was the same thing. But I think that we really have understated and underscored the value 2 years ago of Trevor as he and Doug are trying to form this offense, and to have guys like Marvin Jones, like Zay Jones, and like Christian Kirk who knew the league, knew the NFL, knew what their expectations were, and the fact that those were your 3 lead guys, that is something I don't think we've done a good enough job, quite frankly, of acknowledging how important that was. And last year, yes, you had 3 guys who knew the league as your 3 leads between Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley issues withstanding, but then once one of those pieces, if not 2, went down, those guys behind them weren't as prepared. And the Jaguars feel like that depth is there heading into this fall.
Yeah, well, and I think a big thing when we if you are comparing that Calvin to Gabe, but we've talked about not doing that when it comes to like the type of receiver they are, but Calvin had missed almost 2 years. So, yeah, he had been in the league for a little while, but he also hadn't played football in a while, too. Gabe played every single game last season for Buffalo, and he missed a few, I think, the year before. But for the most part, he's been there every single game the last 2 seasons outside of 2 or 3. And so that is an important factor of these guys being, number one, being able to stay healthy is important, but also actually having recent experience of being and playing and having that pace, because everything does change when you are out there in real game time.
Look, we loved Zay Jones as a person here and as a player, so we don't ever really want to knock him because he was such a good contributor for this offense, and he really did help other guys line up as far as the offense is concerned. But Gabe Davis is a better football player than Zay Jones was at this point in time. Gabe is a faster football player. He's more of a possession receiver. He can go up and get it. He's better in the red zone. So then you take the comparison of Calvin Ridley and Brian Thomas Jr., and because we've been told how smart BTJ is, we assume that he will be a better replacement for Calvin as well. And I would say he's probably a little bit faster. Maybe not a lot faster, but a little bit faster.
I just want to mention this real quick before we hit break. This is out of somebody else's training camp, but a division rival training camp.
It's not the Giants clip, because
No.
we have to hit the Giants clip in the 1 o'clock hour.
This one's one that hits a little close to home, somebody we've talked to a lot. T'Vondre Sweat asked what's kept him out of the Titans OTAs. His response, ask the head coach.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And T'Vondre Sweat, at least from my limited interactions with him at the NFL Combine, in which he showed up to his weigh-in 2 hours late, he's an interesting soundbite. And so when he says that, there is certainly an underlying message, is my interpretation.
Yeah, but you're almost kind of throwing your head coach under the bus.
Day one.
And he took a risk on you, by the way.
Correct. He took a risk on you, and it's his first year as Titans head coach, so that's interesting. All right, we've got more to do here on Helmets and Heels. We will let you hear from Bucky Brooks. We will get to our NFL Darkhorse on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
1010XL.
Did you hear that?
Hear what? 1010XL.
1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
15,000 workers. I'm Brian Rose from Remedy Staffing. We survey 15,000 blue-collar workers each year to better understand what drives quality and dependability in our workforce. The survey shows when looking for a new job, the initial pay rate, job security, and safety while working are the most important factors for hourly workers. If you're an employer and would like to learn more about the voice of the blue-collar worker, please call us at 904-528-1933.
Hey Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. Are you looking for an easy way to feed your friends and family this summer? Let your local Chick-fil-A restaurant cater your next gathering. Choose from a variety of trays, including Chick-fil-A nugget trays, mac and cheese, and of course, gallons of Chick-fil-A tea and lemonade. Perfect for a get-together of any size. Place an order through the Chick-fil-A app online or by calling ahead and pick it up at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant, or get it delivered directly to your door. Enjoy more of the summer season with your loved ones when you take cooking off your plate with Chick-fil-A. See restaurant for details.
Hey there, Weekend Warriors. It's Matt Hayes. Sick of that slice? Tired of those 3 putts? What if I told you your handicap isn't about your swing, it's about your weight? Why not take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with the Waco 180? We're talking 10 strokes off by August, getting your tour card by September, winning your first major, year 1. Think about it. Fame, fortune, and most important, winning $5 off your buddy because you, sir, are closest to the pin. Taking strokes off your game is just about 40 pounds away at Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken 180 does not guarantee an immediate 10 strokes off your score, receiving a tour card, or the ability to control the weather. Individual results may vary. Your newfound athleticism might cause jealousy among your foursome, leading to accusations of steroid use. Awaken is not responsible for defending your honor in the clubhouse. Awaken 180 cannot guarantee that your newfound golf prowess will lead to a sponsorship deal, but we can't not guarantee it either. Awaken 180 is not responsible for any dramatic fist pumps or unsolicited golf tips you give to strangers. Awaken 180 does not offer refunds for any lost wagers made on your improved golf game. Bet wisely, my friend. Strokes off your game by dropping pounds off your frame. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us. But for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks. But I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners. Always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing will last 2 to 3 times longer than a shingle roof? If you want a better roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Schedule your free estimate today at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
If you're an experienced, skilled plumber or welder that's MedGas certified and you're tired of working for a company that just doesn't treat you right, Local 234 is the place for you. Their pay is the best in the business. You'll walk away with $35.09 an hour in your pocket. With benefits, that's just over $50 an hour. Local 234 has been around since 1901, and that means something. Visit UA234.com to send your resume. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Life has its share of challenges, and when it puts you to the test, make sure you reach out to Rebound Rehabilitation to give you the quickest path back to full health and confidence. Rebound Rehab, specializing in helping patients overcome back pain and sciatica, arthritis, and fibromyalgia, just to name a few. Rebound Rehab, locations covering the entire First Coast, getting you back in control with a pain-free life. Sports injury, workplace injury, whatever it might be, you can rebound. Log on to reboundrehab.com for more info.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Regular strength training is key to maintaining muscle mass. Like muscle building, you need to stress the muscle to maintain strength. This means lifting enough weight and doing enough reps to the point where it's too hard to do one more. Yoga and Pilates are also lower impact muscle building workouts that help maintain lean body mass and improve flexibility. Let's get moving, Jacksonville.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Prime Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 904-902-8222. 904-902-8222. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 904-902-8222.
Hey, David again with Royal Pest Services. TAP Insulation stands for thermal, acoustic, and pest control. Keep your home cool, noise out, and pests dead. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free inspection.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Brought to you by JEA. The Jaguars have locked down cornerback Tyson Campbell with a 4-year, $76.5 million extension. Campbell has reported 6 interceptions and 30 pass deflections during his 3-year career with the Jaguars. Head coach Doug Peterson spoke to media this morning on what the next step is for Campbell.
I think with Tyson just continuing to grow, young player, again, like we said, having stability now, he's going to be in one place for a while. Continue to build off of his first few years. I do think that the things that we're doing defensively are going to help him. And, Tyson is one that, not a big guy, but he's a physical guy. And I think this is really going to help him take another step, continue to work on his ball skills, obviously, and just have that presence about him that he's one of the top corners in the league.
Courtesy of Jaguars.com. It's 91 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time in temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Whiskey
I love Jamie Johnson. Did I add this to the playlist? I don't even remember.
It was not me.
Okay.
RJ, did you add this?
We love our Helmets and Heels playlist.
We're rubbing off on RJ. RJ, you're going to start picking up all of our musical tastes.
Which is a lot of country.
No.
And a little...
Some hardcore music.
Yeah, a little alternative. No, yours is called more emo?
Yeah, it's I mean, I listen to a lot of different. So there are some like heavier songs that I put on there, but I try to not put too heavy on there because I don't want to scare our listeners.
We've got a whole heck of a lot to get to here in this 1 o'clock hour as we react to Jaguars training camp day one. You'll hear from Bucky Brooks. You will hear from Tyson Campbell as well. But first, that from elsewhere in the AFC South, RJ.
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And thank you to 424 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures for always sending us the very latest in breaking news. Apparently, there's a massive fight going on at Houston Texans camp right now. So
tell me it's with Stephon Diggs.
It is actually. So Jimmy Ward hit Stephon Diggs late on a sliding catch. Dalton Schultz then went up to Jimmy Ward to defend Diggs. Shuffley, not Sheffley or Shoffley, I don't know who Shuffley is, but he starts and gets broken up. So I guess he tried to start the fight. After the fight was broken up, Derek Stingley came over and completely knocked Dalton Schultz to the ground.
Wow.
So it's not Stephon fighting. He's getting protected.
I'm actually kind of surprised. Yeah. The turntables. But yeah, Derek Stingley apparently just knocked Dalton Schultz off his feet to the ground. So, yeah. I mean, look, they are in...
That definitely did not happen at Jaguars training camp day one.
Yeah, they are, I think they're in day 5 or day 6.
Yeah,
because,
they're a little deeper into
since they play in the Hall of Fame game. And so they're a little bit later into camp. Those tempers flare. I know it was raining yesterday out in Houston, but interesting.
Yeah, they're the tables a week away from a game.
That is true. That is wild as well. Mia, you have one more training camp observation before we get to Bucky Brooks.
Yeah, and I said I think it could be a good segue because yesterday we heard from Bucky on the quarterback Trevor Lawrence. We compared that to Dan Orlovsky and his comments on Trevor Lawrence and whether or not he deserved the contract extension this offseason. One player who stood out to me today on the defensive side of the ball, and it wasn't just a matter of standing out with his play, but vocally I could hear him. Physically I could see him pointing out and saying, hey, you line up here, you line up there, was Travis Gibson, someone who I know is near and dear to Taylor Dahl's heart. But for me, my instant thought, and this will be featured in my quick hits later today, my instant thought was that is a role both as the third pass rusher, but also as that vocal veteran guy who's been around the league and been around the block that the Jaguars were missing last season. Because DeJuan Smoot was coming off the Achilles tear, was not available most of, if not all of training camp. He didn't come back till week 6 of the season. And Kayvon Chason was not really that role as much as Trent Baalke and company bet on him developing in that final year of his rookie contract. And so it was so exciting to see because regardless of how you feel about Arden Key since his departure to Tennessee, I know Lauren just informed me he had some interesting words for the media this week in Nashville. But Arden Key was that guy on the Sunday practice after the Hall of Fame game. We hadn't gotten back from Canton yet, Lauren, but from the reporters who were there.
Mark Long, mainly.
He got all the defensive players together and ripped them all a new one and said, you are not living up to the standard. Travis Gibson didn't do that today, but the way...
been a little early for
the way that I heard him speak, the way that I saw him instructing younger players and veteran players for that matter too, and making sure they were in the right position, that for me means that third pass rusher spot, which I understand Eric Armstead will also factor in there, and he will also be a veteran and leadership presence. But that says to me, we're trending in the right direction in terms of having more vocal voices, guys who are holding other guys accountable than just the Josh Hines Allens of the world.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a big fan of Travis, and I think that when going back to when I did my podcast on Travis Gibson when he was still in Chicago, I talked to people from Tulsa where he went to college, and every single person here said that's the type of person he is. Like almost immediately he had one of those leadership roles on that defense because he is that very, he wants to learn from others, but because he wants to learn from everybody else, he's willing to also teach. And he's always been that guy, even almost immediately when he came to the NFL. Year 1, not so much, but by year 2, you were already seeing him doing the same thing, kind of directing traffic, letting guys know, move this way. Am I supposed to be here? What are we doing? A lot of communication, which was so beneficial to him that season. So I love seeing that he's already doing that because to me, that's showing he's comfortable enough in that defense to ask and help and return.
And that's what will be fascinating to watch. So Demetrius Harvey of the Times-Union was on Jaguars Today earlier this week, and his answer to who's the third pass rusher was Eric Armstead. But certainly Travis Gibson, I think, would sit here and go, wait, no, I am the third best pass rusher on the team, and I'm going to get after the quarterback. Speaking of edge guys, Bucky Brooks joined Frank Frangie on his show on Monday, and he was asked about Trayvon Walker and Joshua Hines-Allen switching from outside linebackers to defensive ends.
But I think they are 4-3 ends. Won't this defense fit those two guys better? Even though they both had great years last year, Josh Hines-Allen had an amazing year. Won't it fit them better?
We've seen Walker and Hines-Allen play together for 2 years. Now you understand, how their games complement one another. I think the big thing that no one is really talking about, the fact that Trayvon Walker finished the year with 10.5 sacks. The fact that he was able to do that in his second year suggests that he still has so much more room to grow in his game. And the move to the 4-3 is not even just about Josh Hines-Allen and Walker being on the outside coming downhill. I think the hidden value is Trayvon Walker may be sliding inside a little bit on some of those nickel downs alongside Eric Armstead, and maybe Travis Gibson coming in as that additional pass rusher, or another guy coming in as that pass rusher, where you have a NASCAR package with your 4 best pass rushers going to hunt the quarterback. To me, I think what this defense does is it gives you the opportunity to be a little more creative with the 4-man front, to do some things that really puts a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback.
I like it. I think it's something we've talked about a lot. A lot of people are saying, hey, we want to, from the day they drafted Trayvon Walker, we want to see Trayvon Walker's hand in the dirt. You want to see him in have that type of role, but also just a specific role in general rather than having to do so many things. I think that the interesting part to me, and even Frank kind of said it in the beginning of this, and I want to preface this by saying I do think it's going to be fun to watch these two in this type of defensive scheme because I do think it will be beneficial. I'm wondering how long it takes to click and get to the point of where they were last year, because it did take 2 seasons for them to start clicking in the 3-4 scheme and kind of that way that they were doing it. So they had the season they did with the scheme that was working last year, and it seemed like it was beneficial for Trayvon and Josh Allen the way it worked last year. So I'm interested to see how quickly this picks up to the level they were last year with switching how they're running the defense.
Here's the interesting thing, because Doug brought it up this morning without specifically saying it, but you could hear it in his voice. The 4-3 suits the personnel better. And I know we've said that on this radio station. We've said it in this town. That's why I'm curious, because he also said back in May that it would take a little bit of time because the verbiage is different.
You're asking them to do
it's a more difficult defense, to grasp. But at the same time, if this is the more natural fit for those two players, then the hope is that there isn't as much of a learning curve, especially because Josh Hines-Allen played in a 4-3 to begin his NFL career.
Yeah, certainly. That's one thing I would say. Watching training camp practice today, I still am not exactly sure what Brian Nielsen wants to do because we didn't get to see that much of the teamwork type of stuff, but we'll be certainly watching that as we go throughout training camp. All right, Bucky Brooks was also asked about the role that Devin Lloyd will have in Ryan Nielsen's defense.
He should be out there some, right?
I would think so. And I know, in the spring, they talked about evaluation. So they were playing a bit of musical chairs with everyone lining up in various spots at linebacker and those things. But it's hard for me to think about what Devin Lloyd was at Utah. The fact he finished his last season with 8 sacks, and he had 4 interceptions. He had in front of a bunch of splash plays, playing a Sam linebacker spot for the youth. I would just think that it would be sensible, hey, let's line him up over the tight end. Let's sometimes let him put his hand in the dirt in nickel situations, and let's let him just be the player that he was in college. Don't have any inside information, but to me, it makes sense if they utilize him more in that role as opposed to Muma, because in watching both of them in college, Lloyd has more reps doing that kind of stuff going forward than Muma has, even though I thought Muma was a fantastic prospect, and I still believe that he can be a really good player in the play.
I'm glad Bucky brought that up because I actually have on the clipboard, I've actually got what at the time, again, Ryan Nielsen insists there's no depth chart, and I believe him when he says that, but what appeared to be the quote-unquote first-team defense, when they were in base, you actually saw Chad Muma lining up closer to the line of scrimmage than you did Devin Lloyd. And that's where I was a little surprised to see him as the Sam linebacker, because, again, like Bucky said, this has been the conversation for the 2 years that Devin Lloyd has been here.
Yeah.
Will they let him rove? Will they let him rush the passer like he did at Utah? I think they will. I think the two players are going to be interchangeable. I think that's part of the disguise.
Muma and Lloyd, you're saying?
Yeah. So I think you will see at times, you'll see Chad lined up in more of a Mike linebacker next to Foye Oluwakin or even as the off-ball linebacker next to him. But I do think you will see both players, at least when they line up along the line of scrimmage, you will see both of them closer to the line of scrimmage, which is interesting. And again, maybe that's a situation where Chad drops back in coverage, and even from that second level, Devin is rushing the passer. But that, I think, goes into the complicated, disguise, fascinating, and creative and clever defensive scheme that Ryan Nielsen coaches. But it is something that is going to be worth watching, because this is a position group, and this, I think, goes for most of the defense, and we talked about this yesterday, Lauren, that for the last 2 years, it's been, if you play this position, you line up here. If you play this position, you line up over here, and you play 85% of the snaps. And with a few exceptions of a few blitzes, that is where you're lined up. Now, there's going to be so many different moving parts. That is where that communication and being open and transparent with each other is even more important. So you cover up and you fix any miscommunications now in training camp as opposed to during the season.
I think it goes back to Devin Lloyd's rookie season 2 years ago. He was a little bit confused. And so I think it's hard then to pile on to a rookie and say, well, you're not getting your linebacking plays down, but now we want to add to that and have you rush the passer more.
And they had to simplify it a little bit that first season.
Yeah, and then that's when we saw Muma come in. And I do think, to Mia's point, Mike Caldwell's defense was not nearly as complex as Ryan Nielsen's. That's why Doug Peterson made the change, because he wanted something that's going to confuse the opposing offenses. Now that Devin Lloyd's had 2 years under his belt, now I think they can experiment. It's the same conversation we kind of had with Trayvon Walker when he was first drafted. Everyone on the coaching staff said, and General Manager Trent Baalke said that too, I want Trayvon to play one position. I want him to learn one position so that we don't confuse him coming into the NFL, so that he knows exactly what he needs to do, play in and play out. Now he has 2 years under his belt. Now you can get a little bit more mysterious with what you're going to do. One more here from Bucky Brooks talking about the secondary and Tyson Campbell, and this was, of course, before Tyson Campbell got the extension yesterday.
I like the potential that it has. And you brought up one name that I would say keep an eye on, and that is Tyson Campbell. And the reason why Tyson Campbell is so important is because I want people to understand this about Chris Richard. I think Chris Richard went from Seattle to Dallas when Byron Jones was a great athlete, but he hadn't quite been a Pro Bowl player. And I think under Chris Richard's tutelage, Byron Jones went from being a super athlete to an all-star Pro Bowl caliber performer. My expectation is that Tyson Campbell has similar traits. He has similar skills. Even though he's not a guard who I would consider a ball hawk, his athleticism should lead him to be a pretty good man-to-man corner where he has a lot of breakups. I think cleaning up his technique will help. The person that I expect to make the biggest jump will be Andre Cisco. Andre Cisco is a proven takeaway machine. He did it in college, 13 interceptions at Syracuse. He has 7 interceptions in 2 seasons, the last 2 seasons with the Jags. He is the guy who can be the one that they designate to set the trap to go make plays on the ball. I look for a more mature approach to defense where they give him some freedoms to go hunt and attack the ball to create turnovers. He'll be good. Antonio Johnson and those other guys can play, but to me, their success in the secondary hinges on Campbell and Cisco. If those guys play well, look out for what the defense could accomplish.
Good job catching up with Cisco earlier today, Mia.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And, part of it was I had a feeling that Tyson Campbell's contract would be, signed and sealed and delivered at this point. And then the question becomes, is he the next one to get paid, or is the intention for him to prove himself in this contract year and then the Jaguars evaluate the situation from there? And again, appreciate Andre with the transparency of kind of where his head is at. Like he said, he's focused on being the best Jaguar he can be, and that's all he can do right now.
Yeah, I love it. I think that it's funny, too, because in the beginning of that, when Bucky was talking about Tyson Campbell, and like you said, Lauren, this was pre-Tyson getting the contract. And so when they announced the contract, and it was like the only non-Pro Bowl cornerback or highest paid non-Pro Bowl cornerback. And then Bucky in this kind of talks about how Chris Richard has made these athletic corners that you see with all the potential into those Pro Bowl quarterbacks. So I think it was fitting because it happened before it was said about him.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Taylor has a tangent. When we return, we will also tell you our NFL Dark Horse team for this season. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's a Helmets and Heels Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. He's not Fat Albert, he's Fat Tony. And by the way, he's not fat, it's just a cool name. Fat Tony. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Take advantage of 0% APR on a versatile lineup of 2024 Mazda crossover SUVs. Lauren Brooks here. Choose from the off-road ready 2024 Mazda CX-50, the stylish 2024 Mazda CX-30, or the tailored for you Mazda CX-5. With 0% APR for 36 months, you'll find your perfect CUV. The professional non-commissioned sales team at Hodges Mazda always puts your best interest first, and you'll get 2 years free maintenance. I love that. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at hodgesmazda.com. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expires July 31st, 2024.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O. If you want high-quality water throughout your home, call your local water boy. We install equipment to solve any water problem. WaterBoyJAX.com.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? You have questions? Call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
College football starts here. If you miss any great interviews and reactions from ACC Kickoff, you can catch up or listen again
at 1010XL.com.
Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
And Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park.
Hey folks, Picken here for Zero Res. You and I know Zero Res loves cleaning carpets in your home. But did you know Zero Res can also clean the carpets where you work? Take a look at the floors where you work, and if they need cleaning, suggest to the boss they call Zero Res. For the month of July, Zero Res offering 20% off all commercial carpet cleaning. Call Zero Res, and they'll come out and give you a free estimate on what it will take to get the job done. Zero Res, man, you spell it forward. Zero Res, you spell it backwards. Zero Res, it's the right way to clean.
You know, Santa's on the beach this time of year, but the elves at Beard's Diamonds have been busy.
It's Christmas in July at Beard's Diamonds. Everything store-wide is on sale, up to an unbelievable 40% off.
Don't buy anywhere until you shop Beard's Diamonds.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Catch all the interviews and analysis of this year's ACC kickoff.
Sold out crowd, Doak Campbell Stadium.
Coverage on 1010XL is brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, Local Union 234, and Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
The coolers are full at your local Gate gas station, making it easy for you to cruise in and cruise out with little downtime. Ice cold Coronas, Natty Light, Stella Artois, and Michelob Ultra. And don't forget the king of beers, Cold Buds. Gate's got them in the cooler, waiting for you.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. And Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
The NFL is releasing their top 100 players of the 2020. So technically they base it off the 2023 season. So it's like, here's the top players of 2024, but it's supposed to be based off of last season. We know this because there has been some wild names on there in recent rankings. And that's because what it seems like, in my tangent in a second, brought to you by Chick-fil-A, I'll go into a little more depth of why this bothers me a little bit, but it's supposed to be based off of that this last season. So I'm going to just go through what they have released so far, and then I'm going to explain to you what bothers me. But starting at 100, and now we are through 61 is what they have. So Zaire Franklin, Levante David, Cameron Hayward, Terry McLaurin, Deion Dawkins, Julian Love, Trevor Lawrence at 94, Harrison Smith, Aaron Rodgers at 92, Tariq Woolen, Devonta Smith, Budda Baker, Chris Lindstrom, Hassan Reddick, Saquon Barkley, Tristan Wirfs, DK Metcalf, Derwin James, Montez Sweat, Kirk Cousins, Sam Laporta, Minka Fitzpatrick, Kyron Williams, Trey Hendrickson, Dre Greenlaw, Justin Herbert, Jesse Bates, Jeffrey Simmons, Garrett Wilson, Laramie Tunsil. And then, just recently they released the next group from the 70 to 61, which is Amari Cooper, Cooper Kupp, Danielle Hunter, Teron Armstead, Brandon Ayuk, Jordan Poyer, Patrick Queen, Jalen Waddle, Bradley Chubb, and then Justin Madubuike. I guess that's Madubuike. So that is it for up to 61 right now. We know they kind of released it into levels. The one thing that's interesting to me, as I mentioned at the top of this, is that they say it's based off of performances from 2023. I think they're confused. I don't think they're consistent in their list from year to year and the players they put on here. Because in my head, if you were going to say this is the top 100 players of right now, like of 2024 season, these are the top 100 players, then things that need to go into consideration is maybe not have somebody who had one good season last year at the top of your list, which I'm assuming we have not seen CJ Stroud yet, so he's going to be in the top 60 at least after one season. Jordan Love, I'm guessing, will also be in that top after 10 games. So if you were going to...
He's played more than 10 games, but we're really only counting the last
10 good games is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, that's where they say his stretch was, where he played well, is those last 10 games. So
is he? By the way, is he going to get the most money for the shortest amount of games? Like ever? I mean, if you were to take like what he's going to get versus what he's played, he's going to get the most.
I mean,
percentage
he
ever.
really has only, but previous to last year, started one game before that, so he has one season starting. And 10 where people are like, he played really well.
Yeah, and he's going to get probably 50
more than Trevor.
Yeah, $55 million a year for a few years, 3-4, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I just feel like I need them to be more consistent with this. If you want a top 100 players, then you need to be legitimate and saying, like, these are the top 100 players and they've been able to prove themselves. And yeah, maybe throw a CJ Stroud in there or Jordan Love, but not in the top 60 after they've done it in a minimal amount of games. But if you are going to base this off of just last season, which in that case, then yes, put Jordan Love, put CJ Stroud, put some of these players that they'll have in the top 60, but do not put Aaron Rodgers, who played 4 snaps.
Who is somehow ranked higher than Trevor Lawrence, who played an entire season minus 1 game and had multiple injuries.
And I get it. In the normal top 100, Aaron Rodgers would be on this list. In a top 100 based on the 2023 season, Aaron Rodgers did not play for the New York Jets other than like 45 seconds.
This sounds like a personal problem, Taylor. I'm just kidding.
But that's just one example of it. I mean, because let's go back.
Joe Burrow still going to be super high?
And he'll be in the top
Justin
60,
Herbert?
so I don't know. And that's what Justin Herbert is on. He's 75.
75. Okay,
Yeah.
so
he's 20
he
spots
again
ahead of
had
Trevor
a
Lawrence.
season-ending injury. Burrow had a season-ending injury, and if we're basing it off of just last season,
that's why
not
I'm
their
confused.
careers.
That's why my more so argument is that they confuse it. Like they don't have a set, this is what this top 100 is, because some of the players that make their list are ones that had one good season. Some of the players that make their list are ones that have careers that we talk about as being the top 100. There's just no consistency in the top 100 to me. And I get it. They have like a ton of It's players voted. So they give these players lists and they're like, here, give us your list of your top 100 players. And they're trying to calculate that. So there's going to be guys in there throwing the ones that they're familiar with. I know 2 seasons ago, the big one was they put Justin Fields on there and Trevor Lawrence wasn't on there. And that's because players that faced Justin were like, he was hard as heck to tackle and we couldn't chase him down. Once you let him loose, it's this. But that's not fair because it's like, that doesn't mean you're a top 100 player just because you faced him and you couldn't tackle him.
Yeah, I feel like there needs to be a set of criteria.
Guidelines,
Like
something.
you can only vote on this based off of last season. Here are some stats for
Yes.
you. Aaron Rodgers snapped his Achilles after 4 snaps. Like that
Pun
does
intended.
go into it. Exactly. Yes, I like saying it like that. All right, so where do we think any other Jags will be on here? I'm assuming Joshua Hines-Allen will be a top 50 player.
Yep.
Any other Jags?
No.
Will
Yeah, I don't
Christian
think
Kirk
so.
make it? No.
I don't think so.
No. If Trevor's 94, yeah, no. My answer is no. And it's unfortunate. You know, the number of people, because I did a call in with the Las Vegas Raiders network last night, and they even said, they're like, yeah, Tyson Campbell's not really a name that we know. And I think that's the reality of it. As much as the Jags were the sexy team, the sexy pick coming into last year, outside of Trevor Lawrence and Josh Hines-Allen, who were the names that actually nationwide were household names? The answer is, I mean, maybe Travis Etienne, and I don't think he gets nearly the credit that he should for the performance that he had last year behind an offensive line that struggled to run the ball. And the fact that he is a threat out of the backfield in the same ilk as Alvin Kamara or Christian McCaffrey, but he's never going to get the national love until the Jags are world beaters come the end of the year.
Yeah.
Since Mia mentioned Las Vegas, let's tell everybody once again, our contest ongoing now through August 9th. We are headed to Las Vegas for the Jags-Raiders game, and you can be headed there as well, right, Taylor?
Yeah, so head over to our website. You can go to 1010XL/Vegas, and that'll take you to the page where the registration sheet is on there. Just put your name in, your information on how we contact you. That gives you 1 entry. If you subscribe to our newsletter, which the link is also there, you also get an additional entry into the contest. They're all over our social platforms also, so if you go to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, they're all on there. They're on our link tree. Many ways to find this. So, yeah, head over because it's going to be a blast, first of all. That 3-night stay at the Circa Hotel and Resort, $200 voucher included, a day bed at the stadium swim, and then also we will be hosting the Heels Huddle, which will be the pep rally on Friday night. There'll be drink specials and giveaways and all sorts of stuff, so it's going to be a blast.
I am definitely looking forward to that. When we return, I promise we'll tell you our NFL Darkhorse teams for this season on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Helmets and Heels.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Florida State. Subscribe to 1010XL Seminoles YouTube channel, up-to-the-minute updates, analysis, and more. Plant the spear and subscribe to 1010XL Seminoles channel today.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, let's talk about diamond cutting. How is a diamond price affected by the way it is cut?
Frank, that's probably the most important question asked about diamonds because the trade-off between a diamond cut for maximum beauty and one that's not is the diamond's carat weight. You see, diamond cutters buy rough diamonds based on quality and weight. So as they cut the rough diamond, everything cut away affects profits. However, There are specific known cutting parameters, and each deviation from these means they have a heavier, less beautiful diamond. Unfortunately, a customer can't detect all those cutting imperfections. They need expert help about a diamond's cut grade. You see, for any round diamond of a particular color, clarity, and carat weight, there are as many as 10 different prices that can vary by as much as 50%. At Underwoods, we look specifically at how a diamond's cut before we look at anything else, because it's the most important factor when it comes to a diamond's beauty, and to us, whether it should carry the Underwood name or not.
Mia here, and it was 1 year ago this week that a nasty thunderstorm flooded my backyard and knocked out my AC. What did I do? I called my friends at Duck Duck Air Conditioning. They are a full-service AC company, and they provide full system replacements and repairs to your current systems. Be like me and call 904-862-6769 to schedule service right away. And, of course, Duck Duck Rooter is oh so much more. It is a full-service plumbing and septic company that can help with clogged drains, water heater installations and repairs, and more. Duck Duck Rooter, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
If you're a veteran, listen up. Did you know that you can access up to 100% of your home's equity right now? Hey, Prosser here. You can do it with Loan Pronto's VA Equity Advantage program. You can get 30, 50, 100 grand or more and use that money to pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, or maybe use the cash to do that home improvement project. Veterans love working with Loan Pronto because they make it easy. No junk fees, no hassle. They can unlock that cash in your home's equity in a matter of weeks. Don't keep paying insane rates on credit cards. There's a smarter alternative with Loan Pronto. Get more info and start the process now at loanpronto.com. Or if your current VA loan rate is over 6.5%, Loan Pronto can get you in a streamlined refinance with a lower rate right now with no income verification and no appraisal. Lower your monthly payment big time. Loan Pronto makes it so easy for veterans. So call now, 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1666781, subject to lender approval.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Looking to elevate your game night experience? Look no further than Best Bet. We're not just a card room, we're your destination for excitement, fun, and big wins. Whether you're a seasoned player or new to the game, we have something for everyone. Join us at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, or St. Augustine for thrilling tournaments, exciting promotions, and a vibrant atmosphere that will take your game night to the next level. Elevate your game night at Best Bet. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com.
How long would it take to reach the moon from Earth at the speed of light?
Hurricane season is here, and now is the time to ask your agent about your homeowner's coverage. It's time to make the change to Southern Oak Insurance.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
It would take only 1 second. That's right, just 1 second to reach the moon at the speed of light, and only minutes to reach the sun.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Everyone agrees that playing quarterback is the hardest thing to do in sports, yet it's the one thing that everyone says they could do.
Denny Thompson is the Quarterback Whisperer. Friday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing has the highest wind and impact ratings available? If you want a stronger roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Learn more at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
This is Joe C. from XL Primetime and stoked to crank up the 9 after 5 once again at the Golf Club of Southampton. Every Wednesday, a little after 5, the gang at Southampton will be hosting us with a new game, and I'm inviting you to be a part of it. Now, through the summer stretch, break up the week with a little hump day fun every Wednesday. Call 287-PLAY to get on the tee sheet. There'll be food afterwards and prizes, including playing for a membership at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and hit the tee with Joe C.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you, jamming out to a little Nico Moon. All right, our NFL Dark Horse teams for this season. We are defining Dark Horse as a team that did not make the playoffs last year, but we expect to make the playoffs this year. Mia, who you got?
So I'm going to start with a team that I don't think they make the playoffs, but I think they get to 8 or 9 wins. And I'm not sure a lot of people are thinking about that. And the reason I'm starting with them, Lauren, is that this was the inspiration for this segment. So Kevin Seifert, the Minnesota Vikings ESPN beat reporter, tweeted out yesterday, alert emojis, naysayer alert. ESPN's Football Power Index doesn't project the Vikings as the favorite to win any of their first 8 games this season. Consider this a free service to all who are motivated by the doubters. You're welcome. Here are the 8 teams the Vikings face in those first 8 weeks of the season. The New York Giants, the San Francisco 49ers, the Houston Texans, the Green Bay Packers, the New York Jets, the Detroit Lions, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Indianapolis Colts. That is certainly a gauntlet to begin the season. However, I don't see a world in which they go 0-8 to begin, especially with, Taylor, this is the part where we bring up our favorite tweet from training camp day 1 across the National Football League today, especially with the quarterback situation the way it is in New York currently, or rather East Rutherford.
Yeah.
Because I believe there's a world in which Daniel Jones gets beat out for the starting job by Drew Lock. Because I do believe that Brian Daboll understands if he doesn't win this year, heads could roll.
Yeah.
And while that pass rush for the New York Giants is certainly something to behold, I think they have so many other deficiencies across the board, whereas I think the Minnesota Vikings are about to prove, much like the Los Angeles Rams a year ago, that if you have an elite play caller and you have a good coach like they do in Kevin O'Connell, and you have the skill players who, even if there's other deficiencies, you can make up for that, I think the Vikings are going to win 8 or 9 games this year.
Yeah, that one will be interesting. I had Carmen Vitale on. She does Fox Sports. She's the NFC North reporter for Fox Sports. And she is in the same world as that. She thinks that the Vikings could surprise people, but she also is very adamant that she does not think we are going to see J.J. McCarthy this season.
I agree.
She thinks it's going to be Sam Darnold.
And I think Sam Darnold's going to make himself some money for elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have the confidence in Sam Darnold. I think their offensive weapons are good enough to make certain games happen. It'll be interesting to watch exactly how that goes. They've worked on certain aspects of their defense, but they also lost their biggest pass rusher in Danielle Hunter. So it will be a fascinating storyline, especially with that division in general. Most people are talking about that being one of the more competitive divisions in the NFL. So that one will be, I've seen both sides. I've seen someone like Carmen say, heck yeah, like I think they're going to surprise people. And I've seen other people saying if they win 3 games, I'd be surprised. So I think it's all going to matter on the quarterback, I think there, just because if Sam Darnold is what the Sam Darnold we've seen in most of the moments in his NFL career, it's not going to look very pretty. So I'm going to say mine. I'm going to go with the Washington Commanders. I said this 2-3 weeks ago that I don't remember what we were talking about, but I think the Washington Commanders have the chance to actually be a pretty good football team this season. And there's a lot of things that go into that. Number 1, Jaden Daniels. This obviously a lot of it falls on him, how quickly he's picking up the offense, how well he's transferring to the NFL. I don't know what level quite we'll see, but I just think with the talents that he has when it comes to the way he's able to throw the ball, he has deep balls that he's very accurate on his deep passes. He's mobile, so he can move around if he needs to. He's very good at protecting the ball. He only threw 4 interceptions last season and 40 touchdowns. That's something that I think if he can even stay close in that realm, that's obviously beneficial, because not saying he'll have a C.J. Stroud season, but the main thing that we talk about C.J. Stroud's season last year was not because he threw 30 touchdowns, but it's because he didn't turn the ball over. And that's such an important factor when you are someone learning your offense. I also think that you're giving him someone like Austin Eckler. They added Eckler in this offseason, who I think is one of when you see what he's able to do, and not only running the ball, but also in his pass catching ability into that offense, it's fantastic. He leads the league the last few years when it comes to yards after contact and yards after a catch. All of those moments, he's really good at making extra out of nothing sometimes. So I think that'll be very beneficial. Terry McLaurin, I think, is one of the more underrated wide receivers in the league. Personally, he's had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and no one really wants to talk about that. And that's with 5 billion quarterbacks that nobody wanted to trust. He was just shy of 1,000 his rookie season. I also think that with the new offensive staff, Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, also who we talk about Clean Kingsbury and how beneficial he was in the development of Mahomes and Kyler Murray in college. And so now he has a guy like Jaden Daniels who he can kind of take under his wing and develop also. And then defensively, they added Bobby Wagner. They added Frankie Louvu, and that's in addition to Deron Payne. I just think they have the ability on all fronts, as long as Jaden Daniels is even sufficient enough to just not turn over the ball, not make a ton of mistakes, they'd surprise some people.
And especially given that division.
Yes. Yeah, going back to the Giants.
And we don't know what the Eagles and Cowboys are going to look like.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb's not at camp. We know Dak Prescott's there, but he's not
we
happy.
saw what the Eagles looked like at the end of their last season.
But they did certainly, I think, address the fact that they had a lot of offensive line turnover by adding Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to have as good of an offensive line when you have a back like that. So, yeah, certainly we'll see.
They also just push-tushed all the time, so you can have to change that a little bit.
They certainly did. My dark horse team, and I think this won't surprise very many people because the starting quarterback was hurt or had a season-ending injury last year, and that's the Chargers with Justin Herbert. Even though, yes, they lost some of their receivers to other teams, the fact that Jim Harbaugh just won the national championship and does get to come into a fairly well-run franchise, maybe a little bit cheap, but as far as they don't have usually any massive issues that we have to talk about. And their schedule sets up fairly nicely. Yes, they play the Chiefs in that division, of course, but within the first 4 games, you've got the Raiders, the Panthers, the Steelers, and then the Chiefs. So you can come out 3-1, and then you've got the Broncos, the Cardinals, the Saints. Like, those are games. We could see a Chargers team that's number one, well, not number one in their division, certainly behind the Chiefs, but a team that's pretty high up in the AFC overall just after the first 8 games.
Let me throw one more your way.
Yeah.
Another genesis of this debate.
Oh, by the way, I also really like Lad McConkey from Georgia.
Yep. I think he's perfect for a Jim Harbaugh system. I agree.
They also got like 5 fullbacks, so
yeah, exactly. And as Jim Harbaugh said, an offensive tackle is a weapon, just like a wide receiver. I can't believe I'm about to do this. And maybe this is listening to too many national podcasts and diving into some analytics with the crew at FTN Fantasy, Aaron Schatz. He's been on a bunch of podcasts, and he's been breaking down some DVOA expectations that the FTN crew statistically has versus what Vegas thinks. Yeah, essentially, Vegas thinks a certain over-under for win totals for certain teams. He and his staff dive into the metrics of defensive efficiency, offensive efficiency, projections, what players have been added, and then they come up with their own over-under win totals. They have the New Orleans Saints at 9.5 wins. In my opinion, either New Orleans gets there and they win a quote-unquote weak NFC South, especially because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will have a first-place schedule this upcoming season. And let's say Kirk Cousins doesn't come back from the Achilles in the same fashion as so many people expect Aaron Rodgers at 40 years old to come back from his Achilles and perform at. The Saints' schedule, and I'm not just saying this just because our good friend Matt Moscona, of course, covers the Saints, and he hasn't swayed me, because I don't think anybody down there is really expecting the Saints to win more than 9 games. They have the Panthers week 1. The Cowboys and Eagles, as we just discussed, we don't know what those 2 outfits are going to look like. They have the Chiefs, but after they play the Chiefs in week 5, here is who they face. The Bucks, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Panthers, the Falcons, Browns and Rams, wait for it, Giants, Commanders, Packers, Raiders, Bucks. For me, when I look at that schedule, I can see at minimum 6 to 7 wins. Now, does that mean New Orleans will still be mired in the same mediocrity and in that middle of the pack that they've been stuck in for that neutral position for the last 3 years? That could certainly happen too. But I did find that those FTN numbers to be fascinating because I think the Saints very well could be having the first overall pick when all is said and done because of the various deficiencies, whether that's along their offensive line with Ryan Ramczyk missing this whole season. Derek Carr, does he regress? Does he take a step forward? I know what Lauren's answer is to that. And so that's my other team that I'm cautiously optimistic by the numbers, and I could very well be wrong, but that division is also such a dumpster fire that I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, I think because of the fact that that division is so unpredictable right now, and if you pair that with their schedule, it looks like 2 wins and the checkbox of, okay, it could favor the Saints, obviously. And I know Lauren's favorite quarterback in Derek Carr isn't one that people want to go spend a ton of money on unless you're the Saints, I guess. But he's one of those guys that when he's on, he's on. You just have to hope it's in consistent form, and it hasn't been a ton. But he had 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year, and had almost 4,000 yards. So it's not like he's just this terrible liability. He's not that whatsoever. He just doesn't have that next tier that can really level people up. So if you have enough talent around you, which I personally love Chris Olave, I think that you'd expect to see more from him. The Alvin Kamara situation is sticky, so we'll see how that looks. And then when you look at also even behind that, when you look behind Alvin Kamara and they have Jameson Williams, who the last year did not look anywhere near he surpassed 1,000 yards the year before, and then it kind of fell apart last season. And I think some of that is the offensive line woes in New Orleans. So it is a question, but I think to me, it's just how is Baker still the Baker we saw last season?
Without Dave Canales.
Yes, and that is to me going to be the biggest kind of help or hurt for the New Orleans Saints.
It's funny, I almost went with the Falcons as my dark horse team because I think they have 2 good options at quarterback. I liked the Michael Penix draft, even though the fact that they drafted him so high in the top 10, even though they paid Kirk Cousins all that money, because if something happens to Kirk, if he's not healthy or if he gets hurt again, then you have another good option. And so I like the Falcons, obviously loaded with weapons. They did lose their defensive coordinator to Jacksonville and Ryan Nielsen, but that's a team that I think will win the NFC South. I do think that I think we're going to see a terrible Saints team, not just because of Derek Carr. And I think the Bucs regress, even though Mike Evans is one of my favorite players in the league.
Yeah, that's what, to me, I wouldn't pick them as a dark horse because I picked them as winning the division.
Right.
So.
And that's, it all depends on how you define dark horse.
Speed round. There's always a team that goes from worst to first in the National Football League. Here are the teams that finished in last place in their division last season. The New England Patriots, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Tennessee Titans, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Washington Commanders, the Chicago Bears, the Carolina Panthers, and the Arizona Cardinals. Who is that team this season? Lauren, I know you picked the Chargers to be...
But not to win the division, so I'll say Bengals. I think that's a fairly easy one, just because even though the Ravens certainly are good, and the Browns made the playoffs too, but I think...
And so did the Steelers, never forget.
I discount them from the here and now at least, but yeah, I think the Bengals are a really good football team when Joe Burrow's healthy.
Yeah, the worst to first, it's hard for, if we could go like worst to second.
That's too easy though.
No, but I feel like I would have to say Bengals. They're the only one that I'm confident in enough of jumping that far. There are some other ones. Like I could see the Commanders finishing second. I could see the Chargers finishing second. I think the Patriots, no, I'm not expecting much out of the Patriots this year. I'm trying to remember the other ones.
Top
Bears,
10 defense.
They're not going to go to first, just like I said, just between how good the Lions are playing and how much people are expecting the Packers to take a step up too. I don't see them making that jump either to first. I was trying to think of the other ones. What was it? Patriots, Bengals, Commanders, Bears,
Patriots, Bengals,
Chargers,
Titans,
no.
Panthers, Cardinals.
Panthers, no. Cardinals,
no.
Cardinals are feisty, but unless injuries mount,
first.
right? Unless injuries mount in not only San Francisco But Los Angeles and Seattle, I just don't see a path.
Yeah, agreed. All right, we do have a giveaway today. Lunch for 2 from Chick-fil-A, right, Taylor?
Yes, lunch on the ladies today. If you give us a call at 641-1010, we will give you 2 gift cards, lunch for 2 to Chick-fil-A.
Love it. All right, RJ, hit it. Time to cool down.
Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, football is back. Training camp officially underway. And CBS has announced its game announcers for weeks 1, 2, and 3 of the season. Thank you to Trevorville on X for alerting us. Kevin Harlan and Trent Green and Melanie Collins will be on the call when the Jaguars travel to face the Miami Dolphins. I don't think the Jags have the best record when Kevin Harlan calls games, but at the very least, we will get an exciting call at that.
The Jaguars don't have the best record when anyone calls
Yeah,
the
that's
games,
true. You're not wrong.
unfortunately, because
You're
it
not
spans more than just the last couple of years. Yeah, my biggest takeaway is that we got to see practice today and that I think Trevor Lawrence looks even maybe slightly better than I expected.
Yeah, I think just basing off of the camp and some of the storylines and battles we've talked about, I think it's going to just be intriguing. Not only, I think the main one we've talked a ton about is that secondary and the cornerbacks especially, but I do think with some of the things Mia was saying when it comes to the defensive lines and what that base looked like today, that it's going to be fascinating to see what they do with Devin Lloyd, Chad Muma, that Sam linebacker, and kind of just that rotation of what the defensive line and the linebackers look like.
We'll be back for day 2 tomorrow. Looking forward to that at the Miller Electric Center. That is going to do it for us. For Taylor Dahl, for Mia O'Brien, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. And remember, you can enter the contest to win a 3-night stay at Circa right now. Just visit our website, 1010xl.com, or our social channel. It's going to be a whole lot of fun when the Jaguars take on the Raiders. These heels are made for talking. We'll talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. XL Prime Time is next.